Hi, this is June. I'm here talking today with you on behalf of Vine Church. So this is shame causing you to maybe feel neutral about your life. It's a hard one being neutral, but let me tell you a story about a true life experience with me. And I had been abducted. It's been about 10 years ago. And I was sharing this story within about 2 months after I'd been abducted. And it was the hardest thing to do, to share that story. But during the process of it I had to explain why I couldn't see. I'd lost my eyesight from this experience. And when I'm sharing this experience, I was telling a small group, about 8 or 10 people there, and they were in a half circle, and there was a woman in the back row. And I got to the part where I said that my husband really struggles with me talking about this. And if ever he hears me talk about it, he would say to me, "Why are you talking about it? Nothing happened. Nothing happened." And I remember yelling at him one time, "Something happened. I lost my eyesight. I don't know why I hadn't been sexually violated, but I'd been held against my will. I had been abducted. It's still a violation." And when I said that, a woman in the back row who she started sobbing, and she would eventually run out of the room. And I just kept going because for her privacy sake, and it would be a few weeks before I followed up with her again that I could connect with her and find her. And she told me about a situation that happened to her when she was 12 years old, where she had been violated from some neighbor boys. And they humiliated her after they stripped her of her clothes, because she was underdeveloped. She was 12 years old, and they're looking at her body and mocking her and shaming her. And about that time, her mother came home, and so she hadn't been physically molested, but she had been physically violated in other ways. And she'd gone through a lot of years of therapy. She'd gone through a couple of marriages. She'd gone through a lot of broken relationships. But she had designed herself to be neutral, in the sense that you looked at her, you weren't quite sure if she was a man or a woman the first time you look at her, because you're not quite sure. She was able to neutralize herself, and her spirit about her was just neutral. She wasn't overly happy. She wasn't over sad. She was friendly. She was very good at what she did, but she was very neutral in behavior. And she told me that when I had yelled at my husband and said, "Something happened," the floodgates inside her fell apart. It was like whoosh, everything changed, because for all these years, it'd been like 45 years. She was in her early 50s, I think, at this time. She had been telling herself, "Nothing happened, nothing happened." Every doctor, every parent, everybody who heard her story kept saying, "Nothing happened." But something happened. And that's what she said, that she finally was able to scream out in her spirit, "Something happened." And that's the turning point in her life. At that moment, she was able to begin to heal, to really heal. And that's where she turned to Jesus and she said, "Jesus, I know your word is true. I know it's true, but I've never been able to feel it's true." But because once she allowed the root cause and acknowledged it, that something happened for her, she was no longer neutral. She engaged life. If you were to meet her today, she's dynamic, she's happy. She's like one of the bubbliest people you'd know, because she's got that freedom of Christ in her. She learned what that meant. And so I just want to encourage you that if you're feeling that way, that you've kind of neutralized your life because of some pain, because something never happened or something did happen, just acknowledge that something happened, and that you can have that freedom, you can have that joy through Christ. And I just really encourage you to plug into the Vine, because they understand that, and they'll work with you. So thank you.